Hello, and welcome to another episode of Outsmart Charles. I'm Charles Bennett, and if you see a Charles in a movie, you know he's either a snob or he's insane. Let's meet tonight's contestants. A performer from Long Beach, California, Willow. A professional Weird Al superfan from Philadelphia, Dana. And a musician from Las Vegas, Pablo. Tonight's categories are nuclear physics, a cask of Amontillado, give me a date, please, acceptable colors of men's vests, Patriot Games, the womb where it happened, married in Vegas, divorced in Reno, and dead white guys. So, Pablo, you had the high roll on the icosahedron. Where are we going to go?
I'm thinking acceptable colors of men's vests.
The last name of a Will Ferrell anchorman.
It's burgundy.
That's correct. Celadon is not an acceptable color of men's vests, but Loden, another shade of this color, is.
I'm going to say blue.
I'm sorry. Dana.
I'm going to go with green.
Green is correct. In 1994, John Berendt wrote a book entitled Blank in the Garden of Good and Evil, later a 1997 film.
I'm going to say pass.
Dana.
I'll pass as well.
Willow?
I'm going to guess Love in the Garden of Good and Evil.
No, love is not a color. We were going for midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
It's a time.
Dana, where do you want to go?
I will take the womb where it happened.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, for this category, I will give you a name of a famous person. You have to name that person's mother. For this category, each answer must include both first and last names. Either married name or maiden name is acceptable for last name. And our first one is John Quincy Adams.
Pass.
Willow, you want to try this one?
No, pass.
Pablo.
Man, I just want to say Margaret Adams because it sounds right, but I know it's wrong. So Margaret Adams.
Hey, people have forgotten John Quincy Adams' mother, John Adams' wife, Abigail Adams.
Wow.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Not holding out a lot of hope, but let's go with the next one. Eric Trump.
I'm going to say Ivana Trump.
Ivana Trump is correct. By the way, had you said his ex-wife, I would have asked you which one. Carrie Fisher.
Debbie Reynolds.
That's correct.
Is that a cask of Amontillado?
It's a cask of Amontillado.
Ah.
Okay. Everything in this category will concern the works of Edgar Allan Poe. This Poe animal can be found perched on a bust of Pallas or in an NFL huddle.
Is it a raven?
It is. Titular beverage in Poe's cask of Amontillado comes from the juice of these.
Grapes?
That's correct. A type of wine. This Poe detective solves the murders in the Rue Morgue and the case of the purloined letter.
Oh, pass.
Pablo.
Yeah, pass as well.
Dana.
I would say Sherlock Holmes, but that's Arthur Conan Doyle, so I'll pass.
Sorry, nobody could come up with C. Auguste Dupin.
Wow.
I wasn't going to.
Let's take a look at those scores. Dana in the lead with 35. Willow has 14. Pablo bringing up the rear with 3. And Pablo, it's your board.
Let's do Divorced in Reno.
Divorced in Reno. This category concerns celebrity divorces. This woman's marriage to Chris Humphries lasted for only 2 months in 2011.
I'm gonna say pass.
Dana.
Caitlyn Jenner.
No. Willow.
Pass.
I guess this is so far in the rearview mirror, nobody remembers that Chris Humphries was briefly married to Kim Kardashian. And if anybody wants to pick up a wastebasket and throw up in it, I wouldn't blame you. After her 1974 divorce from Richard Burton, she married him again a year later, then divorced him and had another 2 husbands.
I'm gonna also say pass.
Dana, you want to try this one?
Pass.
Willow.
You know what? I'm just for the chance that it could all be the same thing. I'm gonna guess Kim Kardashian.
It is not. Did everybody forget how many husbands Elizabeth Taylor had? And 2 of them were Richard Burton. One subplot of this 1939 movie involves going to Reno to get a divorce.
Pass.
Dana?
I'm going to guess Viva Las Vegas.
In 1939, bold guess, incorrect. Willow.
Pass.
Okay. Anybody ever heard of the movie The Women?
Seen the play.
Interestingly, can anybody tell me who wrote the play and screenplay of The Women?
I'm gonna guess no. Same.
Okay, I guess that's another pass. That was Claire Booth Luce, who, of course, was married to Henry Luce, the owner of Time magazine. Let's see, we're back on Dana now.
I'm going to go with Married in Vegas.
In 2008, this singer released a single entitled Waking Up in Vegas.
I'm going to guess Kelly Clarkson.
No. Willow.
Pass.
Pablo.
That would be Katy Perry.
Yes, interesting strategy, Pablo. You live in Vegas. You did not pick the Vegas category for your own.
I didn't. No, I don't. I've only lived here for a handful of years, so.
This Googie-style casino that shares its name with an Artie Shaw song operated from 1958 to 2006.
New York, New York.
No, I believe New York is still open. And also, I don't believe it was written by Artie Shaw.
Is it the Ritz?
It is not. Pablo.
I'm gonna guess the Stardust.
Stardust is correct. Pablo is making a comeback. Las Vegas is the county seat of this county, named for a Copper King.
Pass.
Willow.
Paradise?
Incorrect.
Clark.
That is correct. And John, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the first time somebody ran a category and it was all steals?
I should have picked this one. You're right. I should have picked it. I'm surprised.
Ironically, by not picking, you forced your opponents to rack up some wrong answers. And now I believe we are back to Willow.
I'm gonna go with the easy one, nuclear physics.
Nuclear physics. In an Einstein equation, this equals mc squared.
E?
That's correct. This project resulted in the development of the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
The Manhattan Project.
That is correct. Name 2 of the 6 most common elements in the human body.
Carbon, hydrogen,
Okay, that's 2.
oxygen, nitrogen.
You got 2. We only needed 2, giving me 4. In addition
said
to
there were
oxygen,
6.
carbon. There are 6. I said name 2 of them. The 2 you did not name were phosphorus and sulfur. So let's take a look at those scores. Willow has jumped into the lead on the strength of nuclear physics with 41 points. Pablo now has 33 points, and Dana has 31 points. Looks like we got a real barn burner on our hands, as Will Ferrell's Alex Trebek impression would say. We'll be right back with the exciting conclusion of this round.
Don't leave now. There's more show coming up. Help us grow the show by subscribing to Outsmart Charles on YouTube.
If anybody wants to know the backstory behind the category Acceptable Colors of Men's Vests, tune in to our Patreon podcast. John, when we film our post-game podcast, what is the first question you're going to ask me?
How you been? Probably.
Okay, but what's one of the other early questions you're going to ask me?
And what's the first one you want me to ask you?
Yes.
What's the story behind that vest category?
Yes.
All right.
Want to watch the show without annoying ads like these? Become a supporter at patreon.com/OutsmartCharles. Want to watch the show without annoying ads like these? Become a supporter at patreon.com/OutsmartCharles.
Okay, welcome back to Outsmart Charles. Let's get to know our contestants a little better. For this round of getting to know our contestants, I'm going to ask them about a memorable concert they went to.
Though this guy isn't in good favor, and he never really has been. A friend of mine had tickets to see Ted Nugent, who, again, isn't a good dude. But there was a moment where a kid had jumped on stage and was rushed off briefly. And apparently that led to some, I'm talking almost 7 foot tall dude to try to do the same before he was tackled and security rushed. And I'm like, I believe 16 years old at the time, 15. So that would have been about 15, 16 years ago. Wild. Absolutely wild. Don't plan on ever going to another one for multiple reasons, though. Ted Nugent, that is.
I've seen Weird Al probably about 8 times now, but the most memorable of his concerts that I attended was in 2010 at the Keswick Theater in Glenside, Pennsylvania. And I'd been given a front row ticket from one of my Al pals. And if you've seen Al in concert, you know that he usually ends with an encore of The Saga Begins and Yoda. And I totally did not see this coming during Yoda. He had the audience sing the chorus back to him, and he immediately then pointed the microphone at me and said, "Okay, now just you." And of course I sang it back to him, but that will forever remain one of the most memorable concert experiences. And of course, that front row ticket included a backstage pass. So I said to Al, "Thanks for putting me on the spot." And he said, "No problem. You did a great job."
I went to a Foo Fighters concert at the Forum that Cage the Elephant was opening for, and the drummer for Cage the Elephant's appendix exploded right before the show. So Dave Grohl played drums for them, and he did like 4 hours worth of concert.
So he was a drummer in 2 different bands?
He was a drummer for Cage the Elephant, and then, he's the lead for Foo Fighters, so he was doing guitar and vocal for that one. It was a really fun show.
Is it true that Dave Grohl has been in 40 different bands?
Honestly, considering how quickly bands can, evaporate, I believe it.
Yeah, because he was in Cage the Elephant for one performance. I don't know.
He was in Cage the Elephant for half an hour.
Alrighty, let's take a look at our remaining categories. And by the way, play reverses for the final rounds. Our remaining categories are Give Me a Date, Please, Patriot Games, and Dead White Guys.
Let's do Patriot Games.
This national anthem of France is sampled in both the 1812 overture and the soundtrack of the motion picture Casablanca.
I'm going to say pass.
Willow.
Oh, I'm gonna have to pass.
Dana.
I'm gonna guess the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
No, the Battle Hymn of the Republic is an American tune, not to be confused with La Marseillaise. You know, at the part of the 1812 overture where it goes dun 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 dun, and then they shoot off a bunch of cannons.
Oh, that is the only part of that song I know. Yeah.
Me too. All you need is love.
And cannons.
Star Spangled Banner was written to commemorate the defense of this Baltimore fort.
Pass.
I'm gonna go with Fort Strong.
No. Dana.
I'll pass as well.
Nobody could come up with Fort McHenry. Interesting fact, I have participated in a flag ceremony at Fort McHenry. I was very, very little. The key to participating in a flag ceremony at Fort McHenry? Get there at dawn. This Revolutionary War battle resulted in France entering the war on the side of the United States.
I'm going to say pass.
Willow?
I'm gonna pass.
Dana?
I'm gonna guess the Battle of Bunker Hill.
No, we were looking for Saratoga. So that's the second category y'all have gone 0-4 on. Willow, select from Give Me a Date, Please, and Dead White Guys.
I'm gonna go with Dead White Guys.
This 1980s U.S. president was known as the great communicator for his communication of the end of the Cold War, though I'm personally not a fan.
I'm gonna guess Ronald Reagan.
That's correct. Hey, you know who likes Ronald Reagan? Ted Nugent. This mustachioed prime minister was known for unifying Germany in the 1860s and turning it into an emerging world power.
I'm gonna guess the villain of World War I, Kaiser Wilhelm.
No, we wanted the prime minister, not the Kaiser. Dana.
Pass.
Pablo.
A pass as well for me.
Nobody wanted to come up with Otto von Bismarck. This Massachusetts senator is known for his Liberty and Union speech and for forming a great triumvirate with Henry Clay and John C. Calhoun.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
Dana.
Pass.
Pablo.
Yeah, that's going to be a rock hard pass from me as well.
Nobody wanted to come up with Daniel Webster?
The book guy?
That's Noah Webster. Daniel Webster was a politician. Liberty and Union, now and forever, one and inseparable. Well, Dana, I guess you're going to have to deal with Give Me a Date, Please.
Totally cool with that.
You have to name the year historical events happened, such as Columbus's first landing in the Americas.
1492.
That's correct. Now, Dana, if you run the next two questions, you win the game. There are also still possibilities for Pablo or Willow to win the game. Anybody can win the Allied invasion of Normandy.
I'm going to guess 1912.
1912. You'd be wrong.
I'm going to guess 1918.
No. Willow.
D-Day was in 45.
No, it wasn't Willow.
Oh.
44. Did y'all forget what war?
I did.
Now the math gets easier. Whoever gets this question right wins it all. Willow wins if everybody gets it wrong. For all the chips, the Peace of Augsburg, or as my father calls it, the end of world history.
Pass.
Pablo?
Pass.
Willow. I mean,
May as well guess. I'm going to go with 1918.
well, it's not 1918. It doesn't matter. You win anyway. We're looking for 1555. My dad would say, history ended in 1555. Let's take a look at those scores. Pablo has almost as many passes as points. He has 32. Dana has 38. Willow has 47 and will be advancing to the final round after this commercial break.
Think you can outsmart me? I don't think so. But if you want to try, go to bit.ly/OutsmartCharles and fill out our contestant submission form. We're always looking for new challengers.
Welcome back to Outsmart Charles. Willow has beaten a tough crowd of a close competition to make it to face off against Charles in 5 categories that they have each selected some of. And those categories tonight are area codes, U.S. history, 20th century science fiction, Dungeons and Dragons, queer culture, and history. Willow, your choice first.
I'm going to go ahead and start with Dungeons and Dragons.
The 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons was released in 2014 by what publishing company?
It's written by the Wizards of the Coast, which is owned by Hasbro. So I'm going to go with Hasbro.
Yep, both acceptable there. Wizards of the Coast is the publishing company that is owned by Hasbro, so I accept that. Name one of the 2 original designers of Dungeons and Dragons.
Ernest Gygax, who goes by Gary Gygax generally.
All right, I'll take your word for that. But Gary Gygax is what I had there because, I don't know all the details, but you said Gary Gygax, so even if you are wrong on the other one, you're still right.
And it was originally the company was called TSR.
Yes, that's what that book says over there.
Yeah.
Dave Arneson, the other credited co-creator there.
He died 2 years after they wrote it. That's why you don't hear as much about him.
Like with Stanley and Jack Kirby.
Or with Orville and Wilbur Wright.
Yep, you always hear about Orville Redenbacher and never Wilbur Redenbacher. Of the 6 dice needed for D&D, the one that isn't a platonic solid.
This is a geometry question. That's not fair. I'm going to go with the D4.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Charles for the steal.
Okay. Well, now we do get to mention that the other term for an icosahedron is a D20. So I believe there's a D10, and a 10 is not a regular platonic solid. Is it a
correct.
D10?
That is correct.
So the other ones are D4, D6, D8, D12, and D20.
The dice definition is just based on the number next to it. So there's also a D100 that's an option. Generally, it's 2 D10s that use one as the tens place and one as the ones place.
Yep, it is an optional dice. So
you can buy a golf ball shaped D100 though.
And if you don't have a good rolling table, that's just going to keep going forever. Also known as illithids, these creatures can bend others to their will while siphoning out the brains of their living prey.
That would be the Lovecraftian horror, the Mind Flayer.
It is the Mind Flayer. Charles, did you know that one?
No.
All right.
They've got face tentacles.
In the 2000 movie adaptation of Dungeons & Dragons, this mage, played by Jeremy Irons, creates a magic scepter that allows him to control gold dragons.
It's good to level the playing field because I've got no clue what this is, but I can throw a shot into the dark and just say, I'm just gonna go with Spintax, and if anyone gets that joke, congrats.
Charles for the steal.
I got nothing either. Is it an owl bear?
Come on, it's a mage played by Jeremy Irons. He was not an owlbear. He might have been able to transform into one, but we didn't see that in the film. But probably because they ran out of
Willow
budget
holding up an
halfway through
owlbear
the film.
right now?
I am holding up an owl bear. I stream D&D if you ever want to check that out, and it's full of metallic dice.
Plug your channel.
You can find me on the now defunct Streamlight Theater on YouTube for the games that I have up.
Nice. That was Mage Profion. Mage Profion. Very over-the-top performance in that film. That film is, oh man. They tried. All right, Charles.
U.S. history.
What was the cause of the Civil War?
Generally, the predominant cause of the Civil War was slavery.
Slavery. Just say slavery.
Yeah. It's the only correct answer.
Reference to Apu's citizenship test there.
Wish I could give extra points for that, but you may have figured out the theme for the category, though. In the Simpsons episode, Homer versus the 18th Amendment, Homer takes up this occupation.
He's a bootlegger.
That is correct.
Very easy if you know what the 18th Amendment was.
Or the Simpsons.
That's why this category works for me. This is both. Do you know what he was called as a bootlegger?
I'm gonna guess Homer.
I don't remember, but it involved hiding. It involved bowling balls.
It was a rather ingenious scheme involving bowling balls. He was the beer baron. Since a home security system would cost $500, in the Simpsons episode The Cartridge Family, Homer waits 5 days for a gun thanks to this 1994 Act of Congress.
Was it the Brady Bill?
Yes, the Brady Bill or the Brady Act or the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act.
I mean, my dad wouldn't let me watch The Simpsons, so that might be a slight handicap here.
Maybe. I don't think it's really going to matter because you know your U.S. history. You should watch The Simpsons. It's available on Disney+. In The Trouble with Trillions, Mr. Burns hands Castro a $1 trillion bill. But what is the largest denomination Federal Reserve note ever issued for public circulation?
Public circulation, not just passing money amongst the Federal Reserve?
Correct.
Okay, the largest legal tender in public circulation was $10,000. And it featured a picture of Salmon P. Chase. The Federal Reserve, for internal transactions, briefly printed a $100,000 bill, but the largest in public circulation was the $10,000 bill.
From 1928 to 1934. And right, it had a picture of a salmon on it.
They are proposing a $1 trillion minted coin for inflation purposes.
Like Zimbabwe.
What I also read is that they're proposing a national cryptocurrency, and right now I think that is a terrible idea.
You're correct. We should all, of course, go by the standardized currency of NFTs. It's little monkey JPEGs for 2023.
Yeah, there's no problems with that. No problems. All right. Final question of this round. This 1964 Don Siegel movie was Ronald Reagan's final film role before retiring from acting in 1966, moving on to other things.
God, I don't know Ronald Reagan's filmography.
I know this is a bit of a cheat. It isn't a Simpsons question at all.
It's not a Simpsons question, and it's barely a history
really
question.
tried to tie it into the Simpsons with this one.
Oh, God.
It's about a U.S. president. It's a history question. You know your presidents. Come on. 1964 Don Siegel movie starring Ronald Reagan.
Oh, good God. I want to say his last movie was some sort of Jesus pick. Something of the Christ. I don't know.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Willow for the steal.
I'm going to guess Mr. Simpson, which is probably wrong, but I have a follow-up question after that.
Oh, man. That would have been great. No, it is Las Vegas band The Killers. The Killers.
I guess Ronald Reagan is Mr. Brightside.
Was that the one with the monkey?
No. No, Charles, what was the monkey one?
What was the monkey one?
Bedtime for Bonzo.
Ah.
Right? Is that
okay.
it? That sounds like a monkey title. All right. Willow, you got a chance here because Charles missed some questions there. So where shall we go?
Okay. Before I choose this category, I have to preface it by saying, because we've mentioned him a couple of times, Ronald Reagan was the worst. just an absolute pile of donkey dung. And I'm going to go with queer culture and history.
All right.
And frankly, that was one area in which he was an absolute pile of donkey dong.
This series of demonstrations in Greenwich Village in 1969 transformed the gay liberation movement in the United States.
What were the Stonewall riots?
I thought you would know that. Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, the Stonewall riots. Thought you were asking me.
I'm sorry, I did the Jeopardy thing.
That's all right. They're written as answers. It's understandable. It's just a fun format to write questions in. He was the first openly gay man elected to public office in California, dubbing himself the mayor of Castro Street.
Who was Harvey Milk?
He's a guy that they made a movie about. Sean Penn played. She was the first person in the United States to become widely known for having gender confirmation surgery after traveling to Denmark for the operation in 1952.
Oh. I think her first name is Margaret, but I cannot remember her last name.
All right.
I will have to pass.
Pass that one over to Charles. Charles?
I should know this. I'm ashamed I don't. I feel like the surname is German or Scandinavian, but it's not coming to me.
All right. You were closer on your guess there, but Christine Jorgensen. Christine Jorgensen. This self-described black lesbian mother warrior poet published a collection of essays and speeches entitled Sister Outsider.
Martha P. Johnson?
Is that incorrect, Charles, for the steal?
Again, I'm disappointed at how little I know in this category. I feel like I should know who this lady is, and I'm disappointed that I don't.
I mean, you and me both.
Hey, this is definitely an area that, need more education on, but her name came up a number of times on lists of important figures in this movement. Audre Lorde. This artist and gay rights activist designed the rainbow flag in 1978, which has become a globally recognized symbol of the modern LGBT movement.
Missing a few letters from that acronym, but
I went with because of the historical context of this, the acronym used at the time when the flag was created.
That's valid. But that's a fair point.
I was debating that with myself while writing this question.
Especially because a lot of people about 2 years ago picked up the Progress Pride flag, which is slightly different.
Yes. And that's why I didn't update the acronym, because the flag.
Is the Progress Pride one that has the black and the brown stripes?
There's yes. I think there's
then there's the
other stripes
one that has the triangle and the pink stripes.
I'm not familiar with the triangle part of that. I mean, so without the rest of the colors, it's kind of hard to get a description on this. Although the triangle was the symbol for a lot of queer people in the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. So probably the reference there. I don't have an answer to this one, unfortunately. I chose a category that I felt was important, but I apparently didn't do a great job of researching it in the last couple of weeks to get all the names in my head.
Okay, happy to prompt people to do more research and get a little bit of information out through the questions. So I'm happy you picked the category. Charles for the steal.
Again, I'm kind of stumped. I feel like this is a person that should be a household name and isn't. Oh. I don't know. Was it Harry Hay?
Gilbert Baker.
Do you two know who Harry Hay is?
I do not. Educate.
I'm going to guess a flag stitcher.
Betsy Ross is the only flag stitcher that I know of. But
I was going to say, I don't remember the America lady.
Harry Hay was a prominent gay rights advocate in Silver Lake. Last summer, I took a hike from Northeast LA to Silver Lake and then to downtown LA and back. mostly to prove I could. But one of the places I went to was what is it called? The Matachin Steps, because it's interesting. You always hear about New York and San Francisco, but there's a lot of interesting stuff in LA, particularly in Silver Lake.
All right, Charles, it's your game to lose. Which category do you think you can not pass?
Prevent Willow from stealing my points on. I mean, last time I did area codes, I embarrassed myself. Let's do it again.
All right. Not afraid to try to redeem yourself here.
Not afraid to take a stand. Everybody, come take my hand. Come take my hand. We'll walk this world together.
201.
201 is Jersey City and Hackensack and Fort Lee, New Jersey.
I'm gonna give you that one. I had New Jersey, Bergen County, and Hudson County.
It's the ones that are on the other side of the George Washington Bridge. If you could ever get across it.
216.
Okay, 216. It's the rock and roll city of Cleveland, Ohio.
It is Cleveland, Ohio.
At least I haven't embarrassed myself too badly.
Not yet. 229.
229. Oh, yeah, this is where I start embarrassing myself.
Willow's just waiting for that steal.
I know what 228 is.
It's not the question.
I think I know what 239 is.
229.
Is it Fort Myers, Florida?
No, we just lost all of our viewers from Georgia. Covers.
Oh, now I know what it is.
Albany.
Now I know what it is.
Valdosta.
You didn't let Willow try to steal.
Oh, you're right.
I'm gonna say Georgia, Valdosta specifically.
Whoa. Man, that was a screw up there.
I'm gonna go ahead and give you this. Unless you name one of the 3 area codes I know in California, I'm not gonna know any because I was born after a point in time when phones saved the number you were calling to.
Here's what we're gonna do because I screwed up there and I'm gonna feel bad. I'm gonna write down 15 points here, and Willow, if you lose by 15 points, then we're gonna revisit that and give you a retroactive win here. But that was bad. I'm sorry that I just assumed that you wouldn't know that. That was bad, real bad.
To be fair, I wouldn't have. Like 0 chance.
There's no reason to know it. All right.
It's born in 1996. I've never had a phone I had to dial in more than once.
Now's where we get to either the tricky ones, or if you've been paying attention to the news, the easier ones. 7:53 as of March 26, 2022.
What are the new ones that are overlaying the old ones?
It's posed in the question there.
God, I'm just going to make a damn fool of myself, but it may not matter because I feel like this is a difficult category for Willow to steal. Let's see. Is it Athens, Georgia?
No, Georgia was the last one. That could have been. Willow for the steal.
I'm gonna guess San Bernardino.
Sorry, Ottawa and surrounding Eastern Ontario, Canada.
I didn't know Canadian numbers were an option.
Yeah, Canada has area codes. Mexico doesn't. It's U.S., Canada, and the Caribbean.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, it's a North American numbering plan, although not all of North America is included. So. Final question here, worth 25 points. So, still anyone's game if you're bad at math. 988 as of July 16th, 2022.
988. Is that the suicide prevention hotline?
That it is. The National Suicide Prevention. Lifeline, and Mental Health Crisis Hotline.
And that's a big deal because to establish it, they required 10-digit dialing everywhere.
It'll be great to have that one on there. It's currently served by 800-273-8255 or 800-273-TALK, but in July 16th it'll be 988, so nice, easy dialing there.
Yeah, the thing is that if the last 2 digits are the same, it's always something special. Like, did you know that 911 is an area code?
I do now, and the area is emergencies.
Thanks for the 411.
Well, Willow, I'm sorry you haven't outsmarted Charles Bennett. Better luck next time. Looks like we had a lot of fun here, and I made a damn fool of myself yet again.
Same.
Tune in next week for our movie special where I once again make a damn fool of myself.